Hey everyone, Skull902 back here once again for another part of Donkey Kong Country. This is part 5 where we're going into Kremcroc Industries. It's a bit of a toughie to say if you're an idiot like me. This is an industrial world, a lot of industrial levels. In fact, I believe this is the only world to have the oil factory sort of level type here. And before I mention anything else, this is something that I want to mention because, oh man, it got me so sad when I was doing the recording, but in this sort of bonus room we have here, you saw me even like open the door, so I believe it's when you get single bananas in that bonus room, it gives you a barrel, and you can use the barrel to open up like a door on the other side of the wall. However, there's also like a steel plate there, like a metal plate on the floor, and if you step on that metal plate, it'll just end. So there's actually a secret bonus room inside of a secret bonus room. And of course I'm going to be showing that off in the extra video now. Really sad that I couldn't get it in the actual playthrough. Basically what that one is it's like a mega challenge actually. We saw the spinning letters before. And this one's probably like the most rewarding bonus room in the entire game. Because the first word you spell out is donkey, and that gives you a red balloon for 1 life. Then you have to spell out Kong for a green balloon and 2 lives, and then you have to spell out country for a blue balloon and 3 lives. So that's what I was trying to show off. I will eventually go back to this and show that off for the extra video. You know, it didn't matter to me whether I won or lost. I'm just sad that I wasn't able to show it off in the proper playthrough. Just so saddening. But anyway, here we are in World 5. Again, it's industrial. We've got a lot of these oil refinery sort of factory type levels, where things like this, there's a lot of timing here with the fiery oil drums, which very concerning to me. You know, shit could fucking explode if there's too much fire, you know what I mean? Like, why is Rool putting all this stuff here? It's absolutely absurd, and quite frankly, I am scared for the safety of the Kremlings working at this factory, even though they're just polluting Donkey Kong Island with it. You know, it's not the workers' fault, except it is, because they're all in with Rool. You know what? Whatever. Fuck them. If they explode, who cares? We're out of there. I just did a complete 180 on that. So anyway, this is another level type here, inside like the mines, where there will be 2 of these track levels. This one is by far the easier one of the 2, though the second half of this level gets pretty intense from what I can remember. The track just goes along fine. The second one we'll be seeing in the next video. So yeah, obviously you gotta watch out for the track dropping as well. I could have gone into another bonus room, but I'm not good with timing. You don't want to see me try to time that. So yeah, good stuff. With the enemies that drop down, actually, we're going to be getting a clump that just kind of stays around, and I find it kind of funny. But anyway, there are a couple other things that I wanted to talk about, not so specific to this level, but more so to the series in general, actually. I wanted to talk about the Universal lawsuit, and I know that has much more to do. There's that clump, much more so to do with the original arcade game. But when the fuck am I going to be able to talk about the arcade game or this topic at all? So basically, I'm gonna totally butcher this. I'm not gonna do this topic justice at all. But in the early 80s, when Donkey Kong Country came out and became a big, huge, popular thing in the arcades and pretty much cemented Nintendo's reputation and success in North America, Universal Studios wasn't too pleased. So they pretty much gave Nintendo and Coleco, who were holders of like the home console rights, like an ultimatum, and Nintendo basically told them to go fuck themselves. So it ended up being a big, huge lawsuit because Universal claimed that Donkey Kong was an infringement on King Kong. So they had a big old battle in court. There's some really shady fucking things that the Universal executives did and said as well. I believe his name was Sid Sheinberg. Said that he saw litigation as a profit center when he was negotiating with Nintendo when they were talking about a potential lawsuit. So really fucked up, shady stuff right there. But essentially the turnout of it was that not only did Universal not own the King Kong rights, King Kong was at least the 1933 movie. I'm not sure about like the franchise in general or anything like that, but what they were arguing for, basically, they did not own the rights to, and in fact, Kong was in the public domain. And like the even more damning thing about that for Universal specifically was that Universal had proven in court like 6-7 years before this Nintendo lawsuit that they didn't own the King Kong rights. Like they argued in court against the idea of them owning King Kong. So the judge really laid into them for that. It was some good stuff, but it's also a story about like Nintendo. Even though they had a successful arcade game out and it was really popular and in with like modern culture at the time and stuff, they were still a pretty small time company. Nintendo didn't really become a behemoth until the NES became successful. So it's a story of the little guy basically winning over a big corporation, and it's a bit of an inspiring tale. It's definitely some good stuff. Nintendo were able to save their IP and make it into the franchise that it was, along with Rare's help later on, of course, with the country games. So yeah, imagine a world where Universal owns Donkey Kong. Like, goddamn. Anyway, I just find it a really inspiring and cool story that Nintendo was able to defeat Universal when it seemed like they didn't really have any chance to. So, good stuff. The Gaming Historian is a channel that I'm subscribed to. He has a really good video about it that goes much more in detail about like the history of the lawsuit and how things like turned out for Nintendo and Universal afterwards and everything like that. Really good video about it, which I'm gonna link in the description. Gaming Historian, dude makes some good ass videos, so yeah, I'm probably gonna have to watch that actually after going on about it during this commentary. It was a pretty good video, so I'll put the link to that in the description for you all to enjoy and learn the story from a person who is far better storyteller than I am in that regard. So, yeah. This here is our final water level, Poison Pond, which the gimmick you know, they call it poison pond, but you're not exactly like in danger of dying from just sticking around in the water the whole time. I think they call it that because it's like all green and there's a bit of a mist effect over it, which can obscure your vision a little bit. It's not like too blinding. But what is kind of blinding is, much like the squidges in the previous water level, there are some smaller green fish enemies that can really like get to you in this one. You know, they're small and they can come from pretty much out of nowhere and, you know, hit you. So that's definitely something that you really got to watch out for. Like, there they are. I guess they're kind of brown and green. So definitely a good thing to do would be to do what I'm doing here. Not that I, you know, not that I think that you should copy me in every which way. But On Guard is in the level, basically. So having On Guard is a really, really good idea in any given water level, because you have a little more control over your swimming, first of all. And then, of course, you've got that poke attack that he does. And that he'll automatically do around enemies. So, good thing to have On Guard. On Guard is a good boy. You know, give him all the love. Look at him all happy and smiling and everything. So, again, Poison Pond, probably the only water level in the entire game that I, like, actually have problems completing. Like, this took me a whole bunch of retries and everything like that. It can be a toughie. It's the only one of the It's the only one of the water levels that I can really think of that gives me such problems. Well, like, in terms of the first game anyway, there are some in the second and the third game that can also be pretty tricky. But as far as water levels are concerned, in my opinion, this is the only hard one. But again, so long as you have On Guard, you should be alright. This part here, take it slow. Take it slow so that you can, like, actually notice these fish coming right at you. They're coming right for us. Because if not, you'll get blindsided. Like, look at that fucker. He was gunning right for Donkey Kong. Had I not swam up, you know, right when I did, I would have been complete and total fish food. Which, actually, come to think of it, Donkey Kong would make an extremely large meal for fish those size. Goodness gracious. So here we have the next minecart level, Minecart Madness. This one's a bit different from the previous one, whereas in the original minecart level, Minecart Carnage, I think. Again, I'm not, like, too uppity on the level names. You're not jumping the cart with you when you jump. You're jumping from cart to cart, and when you jump out of the cart onto the track. So sometimes it can be a little fucky. Not that it's, like, glitchy or anything, but at least I find, because you gotta, like, keep holding the direction. Like, there's no real carried momentum. Like, the momentum that you carry when you jump out of a cart is very minimal. So you gotta hold on to you know, right when you jump out of a cart. Essentially, that's just what I'm saying. Definitely the harder of the two, but that's also because there's a shitload of zingers, first of all, and it's later in the game, of course, so, you know, they gotta up the stakes. They gotta make things a little harder. So, yeah, good stuff, definitely. There's another sort of, like, it's more in relation to this game than the last big ol' story I was talking about. But, you know, when I was recording part 3, I was talking about, like, the story and how the Kremlings, you know, don't like bananas or whatever. Actually, okay, before this, this is like one of the signature levels of the world, and I have to talk about its gimmick a little bit. This is Blackout Basement, and as you can see here, the gimmick is that the lights turn out intermittently. It's always the same timing. It'll never go faster. It'll never go slower. It's always like this. So it stays on for about 2 seconds, and then it goes off for about 2 seconds. This level I don't actually find too bad. Like the first time I played it, I didn't die. Basically, they give you plenty of areas where you can just, stop and look. And there's also a thing, it's not so prevalent on my screen, but if you're playing with the right screen settings and stuff, I still can make out little bits of detail, but it's not completely blacked out what you're seeing. Like there's details and stuff, so even in the dark you can get an idea of where you are and where you're supposed to go and everything. Enemies, however, will be like entirely darked out, and you'll have no idea. In fact, I think I get hit later on because of blindsiding enemy like that. But again, just take it easy and just like take your time. Essentially, just wait around and see where you're supposed to be going, and things should be a-okay, okie dokie, and all that. So anyway, onto the topic of discussion I was going on before I noticed that we were going into Blackout Basement. So anyway, like I was talking about the Kremlings and how they supposedly don't like bananas, and they stole the Kong's hoard for some reason. And my brother overheard me doing the commentary when I mentioned this in part 3, and he reminded me of a headcanon, like a fucking wild mass guess theory that he thought of, which I thought was actually pretty hilarious. Have you ever considered that perhaps the Kongs are the enemies in the Donkey Kong Country franchise? Yes, we, according to this theory, we could be playing as the bad guys. I was very entertained by this idea. So essentially, what he imagines happened was that there were a couple of Kremling refugees who made their way onto Donkey Kong Island, and they were starving and hungry, and they asked for some bananas for food, but the Kongs in charge refused it to them, and then what he says he thinks happened after that was once Kremling got the news, once K. Rool got the news that the Kongs had denied starving refugee Kremlings bananas, they declared war and went and stole the banana hoard, and now we have the game. Interesting take on that. I find it pretty funny and whatnot. I'm gonna have to explain this boss in the next part. I'm really sorry, but I just wanted to explain my brother's amazing crack-fueled headcanon for this game and the franchise as a whole. So yeah, pardon me. But I'll see you guys next time for the finale of Donkey Kong Country. I've been Skull902. Thank you for watching and have yourselves a wonderful day.